What's going on, Not Move Nation? Welcome to the Not Move podcast. Today is November 13th at 11:50 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm here with JB Sport Talk, and we are going to break down the New York Jets at New England Patriots game tonight. New England has won the last 17 out of 20 matchups against the Jets. These teams have played on this exact date, November 13th, three times throughout history. New England won two of those games, and the Jets won one of those games. Justin Fields has a 1-0 career record against New England. Drake May has a 1-1 career record against the Jets, but I don't know if Justin Fields is going to be starting or playing tonight. Did you hear anything about that, JB? Did you hear
No,
that Tyrod
I
Taylor?
haven't.
I haven't either, man. I'm looking for updates, and it looks I just can't find any information on whether or not Fields or Tyrod Taylor is going to start. So as of right now,
Taylor's gonna start,
what's that?
but I kind of have a feeling that Tyrod Taylor will start.
Yeah. Maybe they play them both a little bit. It makes it tricky to pinpoint any good props on the Jet side of the ball if we don't know who the quarterback is. Besides maybe, Brees Hall. I think regardless of who is quarterback, Brees Hall over under 17 and a half receiving yards and or over under 2.5 receptions is a good look here. Specifically because the Patriots allow the sixth most receiving yards to running backs this season and the most receptions to running backs. Brees Hall has gone over the 17 and a half receiving line in 5 out of 9 games this season. He's only gone over that in 1 out of 4 career games against New England, but he has averaged more yards per catch on turf than grass in 3 out of 4 seasons that he's played in the NFL. This is his 4th season in the NFL. This game is being played on turf, so I think that's advantageous for Brees Hall there. And then the receptions, he's only gone over in 3 out of 9 games this season, 1 out of 4 career games against New England. I didn't see. I need to look up the anytime touchdown stat real quick for Brees Hall. What do you expect from Brees Hall? Do you think he picks up some receiving yards, 18 plus receiving yards, JB, 3 plus receptions? Do you think maybe he gets into the end zone here?
Yeah, I can see him getting the end zone at least once. Other than that, I don't really see him. Without looking at it, I don't see him doing too much. I think New England's pretty stout.
I'm seeing that Brees Hall has found the end zone in 2 out of 4 career games against New England. So, I think there's a decent chance that he does find his way into the end zone. Let me go look real quick to see how many receiving touchdowns New England has allowed this season to opposing running backs. I'm looking at fantasy.nfl.com right here, and I'm seeing New England's only allowed 1. So that's pretty difficult. And then they've only allowed 2 rushing touchdowns. So, I would have to lean towards him not.
Wow.
Yeah, I would have to lean towards him not getting a touchdown in this game, but I wouldn't. I think it's a close call. But I just want to go over some general statistics before we dive into any more player props. I do give New England a big passing advantage, whether or not Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor plays in this game. Give the Jets a slight rushing advantage. I think if Tyrod Taylor does end up playing, yes, he is a mobile quarterback, but Justin Fields, in my eyes, is a little bit more mobile. So, the Jets, when I say they have a slight rushing advantage, I'm considering not just Brees Hall, but Justin Fields. But if Tyrod Taylor plays, I'd probably still give the Jets a slight rushing advantage there. And then New England, big red zone attempts per game advantage, big third down conversion advantage, slight sacks on the quarterback advantage, big turnover differential advantage. JB, who do you have in this game? And let me go look at the line real quick too.
I got New England winning outright, money line.
Yeah. Do you think New England wins by 13 plus points?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, they're firing on all cylinders. Drake May is looking like, you know, maybe even the newest, what, Josh Allen or Tom Brady re-emerging, or maybe it's not too ahead of ourselves, but I mean, he's playing spectacular, especially with Diggs. Diggs is doing his thing.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Drake May, I didn't look into his passing props because the Jets' pass defense is actually pretty solid. They rank 8th best in passing yards allowed per game this season, but where they do have difficulties is stopping that run. I don't think I mentioned at the start, but I saw that Ramondre Stevenson, running back for New England, is out. So I would expect Travion Henderson to see a bigger workload in this game. I saw his over-under was 79.5 rushing yards, and which he's only gone over in 1 out of 10 games this season. But the Jets, like I just mentioned, they rank 25th in rushing yards allowed per game, and they have allowed the 11th most rushing yards to running backs. They also allow a good amount of rush yards every attempt that a team rushes against them. And Travion Henderson ranks 5th best in the NFL in rushing yards per attempt. So I think there could be some opportunity here for Travion Henderson to find, some big gains in this one. What do you expect out of Travion Henderson? Do you think, 80 plus rushing yards? Like I said, JB, he's only gone over that in 1 out of 10 games this season. Do you think that's too high in this game, or do you expect?
Yeah, probably way too high.
Probably way too high. I gotta think, it's too high as well, simply because I'm leaning towards the Jets covering the, what was it, plus 12 and a half. I think it was. Let me double check. Yeah, Jets plus 12 and a half. So I think the Jets are going to keep it relatively close. So, but if New England has a steady lead in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, I don't see why they don't just continue to feed Travion Henderson. And, he's in a good situation in this game, but I do think it's just a little high here. Now, Drake May, over under 26.5 rushing yards. He's gone over that in half of his games this season. He's gone over that in 1 out of 2 career games against the Jets. The Jets have allowed the 5th most rushing yards to quarterbacks. What are you thinking about Drake May here today, JB? Do you think he goes over 20 or over? Does he get 27 or more rushing yards in this one?
I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna go with the yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe he does that here too. Now, I'm going to check his splits real quick on ESPN and see if he's averaging more yards per carry on turf than grass. He is this season. What about last season? Drake May. Yeah, so he's averaged more yards per carry on turf than grass, not just last season, which was his rookie year, but this season as well. I think that's another added benefit of him going over the rush yards. And let's see what else here do we have. I just want to run through some touchdown scores real quick. I've already mentioned Breece Hall has had a touchdown in 2 out of 4 career games against against New England. But I'm going to just ramble off a few touchdown statistics here. Justin Fields, if he does play in this game, he did score a rushing touchdown in his only career game against New England. And then Stephon Diggs has scored a touchdown in 3 out of 9 career games against the Jets. Douglas, wide receiver for the Patriots, has scored in 0 out of 4 career games against the Jets. Hunter Henry has only scored in 2 out of 8 career games against the Jets. Mac Hollins has only scored in 2 out of 8 career games against the Jets, but it doesn't seem like he played much or at all in 3 of those games, so I view it more as 2 out of 5 career games. Mitchell, wide receiver for the Jets today, has scored a touchdown in 0 out of 1 career games against New England. JB, who do you think has the best chance for either team at finding their way in the end zone today?
Well, New England. The New England's going to get their shit going first. I don't see them stopping anybody or getting stopped. I mean, they're just explosive.
Who do you think scores a touchdown today for New England? If you had to pick one guy for New England to score a touchdown, and I can give you some statistics real quick while you think about that. The Jets have allowed 1 rushing touchdown to quarterbacks this season. They've allowed 6 rushing touchdowns to running backs, which is about average. They've allowed 3 receiving touchdowns to running backs, which I'm going to look to see if Travion Henderson has any receiving touchdowns this season. He does not. But, 3, the most receiving touchdowns any team has allowed to a running back this season is Atlanta and Cincinnati. They've allowed 4. So the Jets, once again, they've allowed 3 receiving touchdowns to wide receivers. The Jets have only allowed 7. So they've actually done pretty good at defending against that. And then the Jets have allowed the second most tight end touchdowns to opposing teams this season. So, who do you think has the best chance of scoring a touchdown on New England today? Who would you go with?
I like Stephon Diggs anytime. I I really just like Stephon Diggs, to be honest with you. I think that's the dude right there, bro.
Yeah.
Mortgage your house on him.
Stephon Diggs versus Jets statistics is what I'm going to look up real quick. I didn't look into the Stephon Diggs props really just because New England they call a high percentage of rushing plays. Both of these teams do. But the Jets have allowed the 11th fewest receiving yards to wide receivers and the 5th fewest receptions. So I didn't look much into it. Now, I'm sure it happens all the time. A team ranks the best in the business in preventing receptions and receiving yards to wide receivers, and that receiver just has a breakout game. So I wouldn't just put it off to the side, but for time purposes, I had to. I've seen Stephon Diggs. He's played 9 career games against the Jets. If he's played them in the playoffs, that's not including playoffs. But I'm seeing that he's had, really 80-plus receiving yards in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these games. 5 out of 9 career games against the Jets. So I can see where you're coming from, JB, about him having a good game here. He's got good history against the Jets from what I can see. But my only concern would be that New England gets ahead in this game, and doesn't necessarily have to throw the ball a lot in the later stages of the game, even though that they may still opt to. But once again, they're more of a rushing team in regards to play call percentage. And then once again, the Jets have allowed the 5th fewest receptions to wide receivers and the 11th fewest receiving yards to wide receivers. But
Wow, that's wild. I hadn't least expected that. Is that before or after they got rid of Sauce Gardner?
That's a good question. When did they get rid of him?
Last week was their first week without him.
Oh, okay. So they haven't played many games without him. What happened last week? Who did the Jets play? So they've played one game without Sauce Gardner?
Cleveland. They played Cleveland, I think.
They played Cleveland. Dylan Gabriel, 167 passing yards. So they haven't really truly been tested, and
Right, exactly.
and Drake May, if he
It's the
needs.
tester.
So let's say this, JB. Let's say Drake May opts to throw the ball today, or is forced to throw the ball if New England's down in this game in the later stages of the game. Do you think that he has a better chance? Would you say he has a better chance without Sauce Gardner being in there for the Jets?
Yeah, he is. I think he has a way better chance without Sauce. Even though I don't think Sauce Gardner's really doing like too well this year, though. From my understanding.
Yeah, I know
I
he's a
mean,
big
obviously, when
name.
you don't, when you're not playing against a two-time first All Pro, it makes the game probably that much easier.
Yeah. Hey, and while we're here, guys, I just want to give a special thank you to the sponsors: BetUS, MyBookie.ag, Walmart.com, Open Goal, the MLB and NFL Pro Shops, and W Energy Drinks. If you scan that QR code up there at the top left-hand corner of the screen, it'll get you access to all that information. And if you use promo code BETTERS, BETT. I forgot if it was it just like my last name here, or was it the first name?
Well, the betters, BETTERS.
Okay, all
Um,
caps.
everything's betters. Um, yeah, at notmoved-shop.fourthwall.com.
Not
10% off.
not moved. What would you say that was, JB?
Dash fourth wall. It's not moved shop.fourthwall.com.
Dash shop dash fourthwall.com.
No dot. No dash. Just after the shop, it's dot. Not
Oh,
fourth
okay.
wall.
Not moved dash shop.fourthwall.com.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Let me see. I can't post it on the YT right now, but yeah. Anyways, so Garrett Wilson. I'm sure I haven't mentioned that, but he is out tonight with a knee injury, wide receiver for the Jets. So I think that really limits them. Butte, wide receiver from New England's also out. He's been doing pretty good this year. So I think, that is a big hit for New England. Austin Hooper, tight end for New England, out with a concussion. Once again, we still don't know. I don't know if Tyrod Taylor or Justin Fields is starting. But before the show, I was looking at Tyrod Taylor's game logs this season. He's played in 3 different games, and it seemed like his favorite target was Garrett Wilson. He's out now. But other than Garrett Wilson, it seemed like the guys that he really liked to target were Mason Taylor, Brees Hall, and Tyler Johnson. So if Tyrod Taylor starts or gets any action tonight, I think, Mason Taylor, Brees Hall, and even maybe some Tyler Johnson are some guys that are worth looking at in this game. Now, Mason Taylor specifically, because New England's allowed the 6th most receiving yards to tight ends this season. They've allowed the 5th most receptions to tight ends. Mason Taylor, last that I checked, over under 32.5 receiving yards, also over under 4.5 receptions. He's gone over those lines in only 3 out of 9 games this season, but I think this could be a good game for him to go over that mark. And that's one of New England's biggest vulnerabilities is that tight end defense. And the running back receiving defense. Also, passing yards. They've allowed the sixth most passing yards this season. But the Jets need a quarterback that can take advantage of that. I can't really say that Justin Fields has this season. The Jets rank last in the NFL in passing yards per game. So, but I think it's worth mentioning that both of these teams, and this adds to me liking the Brees Hall over the receiving yards. Okay, New England ranks 17th in opponent yards per completion, so New England's allowing a decent chunk of yardage when teams are completing passes against them. Brees Hall ranks 95th best, and which isn't like great, but it's not. It's something positive for this Jets team. He ranks 95th best in the NFL in yards per catch, and it honestly ranks first best on this team with Garrett Wilson being out of this game. And then the Jets, the same thing. They rank 23rd in opponent yards per completion, so they allow a few more yards per completion to opposing teams. I got Douglas on my radar. He ranks 20th in the NFL right now in yards per catch. Hunter Henry, 44th. Mac Hollins, 46th. Stephon Diggs, 70th. So I could see those guys picking up some decent yardage there. Obviously, there's those explosive plays that we can look at. Let me go back here and get that up. JB, did you have anything about this game that I haven't covered, that we haven't covered? I think the Jets have a pretty decent punt returner, if I'm not mistaken. Special kickoff returner. I think that's definitely something worth looking into, guys. But yeah, is there something that you wanted to talk about that I haven't mentioned or that you haven't mentioned yet?
No, I think you got it.
I'm trying to get up this. Here we go. I'm trying to find this like explosive play information because I talk about red zone statistics a lot, which I don't think I've talked about that right now, but I do want to cover it real quick. New England has allowed opposing teams, when teams enter the red zone against New England, they've allowed their opponents to score the most touchdowns out of any team in the league, percentage-wise. When teams do enter the red zone. Now, the Jets are not great at converting, but I think that's, if the Jets do get into the red zone today, here's a good chance for them to actually score a touchdown or two, multiple touchdowns against New England, who once again is allowing the most touchdowns percentage-wise when teams are entering the red zone. But here's the thing about New England. They rank first in opponent red zone attempts per game. So nobody's better in the business than New England at preventing teams from entering the red zone against them. That's actually pretty crazy when you think about it. They're the best at keeping teams out, but when teams enter, they're the worst at letting up touchdowns. I think that's a pretty interesting statistic. And then the Jets, they don't get to the red zone a lot. They rank 30th, so third worst in the NFL at getting into the red zone. Now, New England, they rank 11th best at getting into the red zone, and the Jets rank 21st in opponent red zone attempts per game. So I do think New England, based on that statistic alone, should have some opportunities in that red zone today. They're okay at converting touchdowns when they do enter the red zone. They rank 18th. The Jets are not actually terrible whenever teams are in the red zone at holding them off to turnovers and or field goals. They rank 13th in that category. So, but overall, yeah, I give New England the red zone advantage. Really, it comes down to the red zone attempts per game advantage is where I really see that they have the advantage there. But red zone isn't everything, right? So this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with the explosive plays. So I want to see how many explosive plays, let's say 40-plus yard rushes that New England and or the Jets have allowed. So the Jets have allowed 3 this season. New England hasn't allowed any. So if you're thinking about Breece Hall maybe breaking away for one, a 40-plus yard gain, I mean, New England hasn't allowed one this season. So that's concerning. I think maybe he'll have to do it through the air. We'll look at the receiving prop yardage allowed here in just a second. But New England, they've only allowed 2 rushing plays of 20-plus yards, man. The Jets have allowed 8. So I think there is a better spot for TreVeyon Henderson to break out for some decent-sized rushes. Once again, TreVeyon Henderson ranks 5th best in the NFL in rushing yards per attempt. And then the receiving game, 40-plus yard receiving gains allowed. The Jets have allowed 4. New England's allowed 3, so they're pretty similar. And then 20-plus yard gains. The Patriots have allowed the second most 20-plus yard receiving gains. So I think, I think the Jets, man, I wouldn't first off, I want to see how many times Breece Hall has had a 20-plus receiving yard game this season. So I'm going to go over here to rotowire.com and just see if we can find that information real quick. Receiving, but it's not showing me his 40-plus receiving distance. It's showing me his 40-plus rushing distance, receiving statistics here. I'm not going to let it take up too much of our time here, but I think that information can be beneficial for you guys if you wanted to go ahead and look that up. How many times has Breece Hall had a 20-plus yard receiving gain? Once again, because New England has allowed the second most 20-plus yard receiving gains this season. So not just necessarily with Breece Hall. What that's telling me is that Breece Hall may have an opportunity to break out for a couple of big receptions in regards to yardage gained. But maybe it's not the worst idea for the Jets to take a chance on some deeper passes. But maybe teams are picking that up with really with the yards after the catch against New England, because they're not allowing a ton of 40-plus yard receiving gains. They're allowing 20. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're just allowing some yardage after the catch. But yeah, I mean, I think this is an ugly game for the most part, specifically because we don't know who the quarterback's going to be for the Jets tonight. Temperatures are expected to be in the 30s, but it looks like there's going to be very light winds in this game, no rain, so just some chilly air. But let me look it up real quick to see if, Fields or Tyrod Taylor. Let's see if we have any information on that yet. I don't see anything quite yet. But so yeah, I think that's a story to keep up with throughout the day. Let me just browse through my notes here and see if I didn't mention something that I did want to mention. New England hasn't been extremely great or terrible at allowing receiving yards to wide receivers or receptions. So if you're thinking about a New York Jet here to go over some receiving yards or receptions, you got that working with you. And yeah, man, I mean, if I'm New England, I'm probably just trying to run the ball with TreVeyon Henderson early on. And if not, I feel comfortable with Drake May you know, the Patriots rank 8th best in passing yards per game. I did mention the Jets' pass defense is a little bit better than their rush defense. So, yeah, if I'm New England, I'm looking for Travion Henderson first. But yeah, I think that's about all that I have for this one. JB, do you have anything else that you wanted to say? If you're still there.
No, I don't. I think this was great and covered well.
Yeah, man. What's your final score prediction? I think you said, New England
27, 27 to 6, New England.
27-6. Now, I didn't look into the over/under any at all, guys. So I'm just going to go off a score that I saw based off history here. I mentioned that these teams played 3 times on this exact date, November 13th, throughout history. I see in one of these games, the Jets won at New England. Yeah, give me that. Give me give me the Jets. But I don't think the Jets are going to necessarily win. I do like the Jets to cover. So I'd have to lean towards the Jets covering. Okay, I don't think anybody in their right mind can like the Jets to cover. But I mean, that's part of the reason why I like the Jets. I think everybody's going to be on New England in this game. We see, the funny stuff happen in these primetime games, where teams that look like they're going to get blown out just end up hanging around or winning the game. So um, today is also Vinny Testaverde's birthday, who used to play for both of these teams. He was number
Jets have
4.
always played the Patriots really well, really well. No matter if they're playing really well throughout the season or not. I mean, it is a divisional game. Oh, maybe I'm not getting enough credit.
Yeah, I mean, New England has won the last 17 out of 20 against the Jets. So, I mean,
Yeah.
and then against the spread in the NFL this season, I'll give you guys this statistic. The Patriots are 7-3 against the spread, but the Jets are 5-4. I do think the Patriots win this game, but here's the reason why I don't want to take the Patriots on Survivor tonight is because I feel like a lot of people are, and like I'm scared that there is going to be an upset. I believe it or not, I feel more comfortable in Minnesota beating the Bears this week. So I'm sure a lot of people were like, "Why isn't he taking New England on his Survivor?" Or there's another game. The Giants and who do they play? Green Bay. Why isn't he taking Green Bay, dude? What do you think, real quick, JB, about that game? Do you think the Giants, who do they have at quarterback? Jameson Winston?
They're not doing nothing. Maybe they rally around Kafka and Winston. I've seen some magic going like that with them last year, so maybe
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't know. I just don't see them. I think Jackson Dart is their bolt of energy.
Mhm. Yeah, no, you're right, man. But I think Winston can step up in his first game there with, they just had their coach get fired. So they got a new coach now, from my understanding, and just rallying around Winston, rallying around this first time coach and getting the job, head coach, and getting the job done uh, for Winston and that coach. So that's another reason why I wasn't thinking about taking the Packers. But yeah, man. I mean, I do expect New England to win this game, and yeah, I'll just go with the final score of sheesh, man. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be kind of lower scoring. Um, the Jets, they're 6-3 to the over this season. and New England is 6-4 to the over. What's the over under real quick? Over under 43.5. So I'm thinking Patriots win by exactly 6. So what's 27-21 gives us 48, 24 to 18. That's weird. 23-17 is 40. Yeah, give me New England 23-17. 23-17. New England wins this game. Most punt return yards. Before we get out of here, I just want to look up most punt return yards this season because I swear it's a New York Jet. Yeah, it looks like Isaiah Williams ranked second best in the NFL right now in punt return yards this season. If I'm not reading that, yeah, second best in punt return. Kick returns. Let me see if the Jets have like a big advantage here. But yeah, I mean, I would, if you're interested in the special team stuff, guys, I would look up to see how many punt return yards New England has allowed this season to opposing teams, and that can give you an idea on how big of an advantage that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. If the Jets do win it, it's going to be because of special teams play or lack thereof.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we talk about all these offensive and defensive statistics, and sometimes we just overlook special teams, and that's a part of the game too, for sure. So, but anyways, I think that about does it for me. Thank you guys again so much. We really appreciate all of the support. And yeah, thank you to the BetUS, MyBookie.ag, Walmart.com, Open Goal, the MLB and NFL Pro Shops, and W Energy Drinks. Also, guys, Southgate's parlays, $9.99 per day, $49.99 per week. I don't like parlays, but I'm not here to tell you to play them or not. I'm just simply here to tell you that that option is available, and I hear he's pretty good at what he does. I would personally try his product if I were interested in parlays just to see what it's about. I mean, $9.99 per day. That seems fair. So that information is in that QR code as well up top in the left hand corner of the screen if you're interested in that. And good luck today, guys. JB, anything else?
No. Again, well, yeah. The DUBBY.GG. Use promo code not move to see 10% off your guys' purchase. Use it as many times as you guys want.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks again, guys. Not moved out.
This non-casual podcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without the authorized written consent of the Not Move Podcast Network. Thank you, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.